So, session five, act one, if you will, of Power Rangers Rise, is called Emperoar, but it's not spelled like you think it would be spelled. It's how it's spelled with purpose in the title of this video. So, at 5:30 in the morning, when all good things either happen or no good things happen, Mabe is working on the laptops that she found in the trailer that Smoke the Robot came out of. And Mabe has been trying to decode the Wi-Fi certifications that will help to break through Mayor Bulkmeyer's blockade of the Angel Grove Wi-Fi so that they can have Wi-Fi and more signal again. Um, some of the characters, mysteriously, are able to be worked out. Four out of the six that need to be decoded are now decoded by whatever mysterious thing this program does. But that decoding comes with a matching beep, a syncopated rhythm that draws Mabe's attention, especially at breakfast while speaking with Ophelia. So Ophelia and Mabe end up in front of Lua's door as the beeping is coming from Lua's police scanner that shares an adjacent wall with Mabe's room. They all sort of realize that the beeping is some form of Morse code. It's hard to tell because they can hear the beeps, but without the dashes, Morse code doesn't sound complete or doesn't read as complete. Um, the message that's implied has something to do with the supply chain or supply line. But as far as Lua knows, the place that the message references, Area 52, doesn't have any activity in it because Area 52 is part of Angel Grove, and Angel Grove is a dead city, right? And in any case, it certainly doesn't bode well for the team. There are a lot of reasons that are stacking up to check out Angel Grove, some personal, especially for Lua, who was a citizen of Angel Grove until recently, and some a little further out there, like trying to solve the mystery of this nobody virus. There's just less bizarreness there than there is here in Saint Honore. Ophelia, right before breakfast, actually has found another bit of weirdness. Um, while she was up trying to get in contact with her manager and maybe do a little bit of meditation, try to settle her mind, she finds what looks like a freshly dug pile of earth, which wouldn't be too concerning, except it's exactly where the Pink Ranger box with the morpher in it was found. But there are no footprints leading to or from it, just the freshly dug pile next to the abandoned cotton candy and popcorn machines in the trailers. There's no sign of anything there, at least not anymore. Maybe the person just covered their tracks. And it probably doesn't help that they're all sort of suffering a little bit from worry and sleep deprivation, and of course, the isolation of Saint Honore. Um, though it's worth celebrating, whatever the code breaking is doing has now given them at least two bars on their cell phones. Um, the celebrations are short-lived. The victories are short-lived because the Rangers that are awake get to watch Benji sleepwalking toward the mine and sleepwalking right up to the carving about the Sentinels. Something, a poem about light, a poem about righteousness, a poem about two hearts and one body. It's very vague, it's very cryptic, and it's etched into the wall of the mine right before the bend in the entrance. Now, except for Benji, they mostly haven't gone into the mine a lot. So, following Benji's lead, even in sleepwalking, they now officially enter the mine. Benji seems really, really entranced by the poem, by the carving. The rest of the team starts to hear noises of an animal somewhere from the mine cabin. Um, And I have to clarify that it's not the other animal that Benji had actually previously heard in the mine. It's something different. Lua eventually rolls well and notices that the setting that she's seen before and dreamt of. It's a prison cell that she had been chased into in this sort of underground security guard Five Nights at Freddy's type dream. She had been running from a pile of clothes without a body, though, of course, that had been in animatronic form. And both Ophelia and Mabe echo that they've had dreams a little like that, of piles of clothes taking form and without body, but with this gruesome design on their new Power Ranger powers and terrorizing them in dream form. No, the pile of clothes as a through line has to wait, though, as Mabe trying to pull Benji from the mine in order to regroup and maybe wake him out of the sleepwalking, is stopped by a cautionary chain rope near the entrance. And then Benji and Mabe are surrounded by those killer sharp-teethed clowns they've seen before. And from out of the chasm in this mine, Emperoar, a humanoid lion man wearing black leather pants, ascends from the depths and pounces to greet the Rangers that approach during combat with a cryptic message, welcoming them home, while the killer clowns grapple Mabe and congratulate her on making the right decision, but they never qualify what that decision is that apparently Mabe has made. She even sees a vision of a shark costume type ranger that swims before her briefly in front of the Sentinel poem. It becomes clear during the course of battle that Emperor intends as their goal to throw the Rangers into the abyss over the edge, rather than to do damage. But when the monster ascends from the ceiling and attacks Ophelia, the Red Spirit Ranger, Benji's pink spirit blaster begins to sound like a train engine and proclaims, Rainbow Rush! The train ring that he had found in the forge activates and is now attached to his spirit blaster. And out of the ether of whatever happened when Power Rangers get power weapons comes well, it's childlike actually. The colors are too vivid, too vibrant. They don't look like they belong in the universe in which we live. But there's this childlike multi-pronged weapon called a link-up bazooka. It's made from five smaller weapons, but it's made into a form of a kind of like aircraft carrier style bazooka that Benji can't wield due to its weight without a power bloom from his fellow Rangers, where they each have to give up a uh, a power point in order to help, which they have plenty of since, um, except for Lua, they're not really using them yet, dependent upon their powers, because they don't teleport that they know of. Uh, but this link up bazooka blasts Emperor back over the side of the chasm. Emperor dissipates, but also leaves behind a blank tarot like Emperor card, but over the chasm as the card descends into the darkness. Ophelia, just lingering long enough to standing, notes that the card, even though it has descended, descends again, but from the top of the ceiling of the mine itself down into the chasm. Yeah, Ophelia tries to reach out and figure out how the physics of the mine works, and that's when Lewin notices the trajectory of a dead security camera pointed at the levels of the jail cells in the mine. Ophelia gets on Mabe's shoulder to climb up to a length of steel chain attached to a ceiling beam, and Benji ignores all of that to just vault over the edge and attempt to get the Emperoar card to see how much it matches the magician card they already have. Unfortunately, Benji does miss the card and descends into the blackness of the chasm, but fortunately, they all learn as he falls from the top of the ceiling again 30 seconds later in what Lua describes as a portal loop, which is then confirmed by a gently tossed hamburger-shaped rock into the dark chasm. Indeed, it is a loop of some kind. This chasm just continues in on itself. Ophelia, after a successful climb, even having observed this just shortly, uses length of chain and is able to get the chain over to Benji just in time for Benji to acknowledge for himself and for his fellow Rangers that Minotaur is on level 2 of the 6 levels of the jail cells in the mine. And this Minotaur that was patrolling something has stopped long enough to watch these shenanigans and noticed Benji at least. Ophelia, now that Benji is a little more safe, goes after the Emperor card herself. She ends up controlling her descent enough to get the card, but also to end up on the level where the Minotaur reigns. They sort of note as a group, at least Benji and Ophelia can relate this to Mabe and Lua, that several jail cell doors on level 1 are open, but Ophelia can't dwell on that as she kind of dodges the Minotaur. And I've left it up a little bit to Benji's character. If he is in time or not in time to see Ophelia disappear into the mine wall on the second level of the 6 level mine jail thing in Saint Honore. But both Ophelia and Benji have seen that there is a doorway behind a rock slide the Minotaur is guarding, for better or for worse. And the real question is, will the other Spirit Rangers take this plunge? And also, what's happened to Ophelia? So we're taking a little bit of a break as this episode ends. November is a very crazy month for a whole bunch of people in our schedule. So we'll be back for episode slash session 6 in early December. And the episode is entitled, this isn't either or, so you can choose which title you like best. Shadows of Wonder or Ophelia in Wonderland. It's an exciting time, and it's an interesting part of lore that starts to build a bridge between a couple of different gaps. And so I hope you'll stick around and join us as the adventure really has just begun. May you rise, and may the power protect you.